Mm. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the BioTools Innovator information session, the first one for 2023. Let's just give everyone a couple minutes to come in. As we let everyone come into the room, I'll also say we are also live streaming this on LinkedIn and YouTube, so feel free to join us through one of these channels. We still have a lot of people coming in, so I'm going to give it one more minute before we kick off. Okay, I think we can start. So welcome everyone again. We're so glad to see everyone here. We're very excited to open our first info session for 2023 cycle of BioTools Innovator. And today our goal is really to tell you about our program, what we do, how we can support you and understand whether this is a good fit for your company and technology. So let's start. I'm Ayelet Morom. I'm the program director for BIOTOOLS Innovator. And let's start. So BIOTOOLS Innovator, powered by MedTech Innovator, and we'll talk about that in a second as well, is the first ever nonprofit global accelerator and competition for life science tools innovator. So really the goal is to be the home for all of those companies for life science tools out there. Our mission is to improve human health by accelerating the growth of life science tools and diagnostics companies. What does it mean that we're powered by MedTech Innovator? This is an important thing that we want to explain. So MedTech Innovator is a nonprofit, is the biggest nonprofit, largest life science accelerator in the world. Together, this is our 10th year, and this industry's global competition and accelerator throughout our program supports Innovator in the verticals of medical devices, digital health, diagnostics, and life science tools. Altogether, we have a very strong portfolio of over 500 companies. 95% of them are still in business or has been acquired. You can see that 31 of them had either exited or been acquired. And we're very proud to say that our alumni, has raised over $6 billion in follow-on funding. And this means as a nonprofit, we do not invest directly in these companies. So this is all money raised post participation in the program by the companies. All of our three programs under MedTech Innovator, which is MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific, which is designed for innovators looking at the Asia Pacific market and entering the Asia Pacific market, and BIOTOOLS Innovator, which we're here to talk about today. All of our applications opened earlier in November and are now open until January 31st. So this is the deadline for application. Mark your calendars. Let's talk a little bit about our different programs. So as I said, MedTech Innovator has been around for 10 years now. Our hallmark in all of our programs, including BIOTOOLS Innovator, is really our industry partners. Our accelerator is what we'd like to call an industry-focused accelerator. We work with all of our industry partners to support the companies and provide the needed support for your specific challenges at the time of the program. 2 years ago, in 2021, we have launched BIOTOOLS Innovator to specifically support innovators that are developing life science tools and diagnostics and molecular-based diagnostics technologies. And we'll talk more about this in a brief moment. We have launched BIOTOOLS Innovator with the help of two founding partners, Broado Capital Partners and Research Corporation Technologies, both of which are active investors in these verticals. And since then, we haven't stopped. So we have added a lot of other familiar names in the life science tools and diagnostics verticals into our ecosystem, either as partners, as mentors, as reviewers, as judges in our different events, and so on and so forth. And so you see all of these names and the people that are behind these names supporting you throughout the program. We are very fortunate to have all of these people around us, and we continue to grow that ecosystem so we can better support all of you. Let's talk about the companies. So this is what we're really here to talk about. So in our second year in operation, thus far, we've had over 320 applicants to the program. In our first couple of years, we've altogether had 24 cohort companies, which you can see the logos up here on the screen. And I do encourage you, and I'm sorry, I think I'm hiding the link, but we can share it later. So I do encourage each and every one of you to visit our website and look at our portfolio companies at our portfolio company page. This will give you a good idea, even after the info session today, of what kind of companies we're looking for and what kind of companies has made it to our cohort in the past. Overall, in these 2 years, we've given away $550,000 in cash prizes. We'll talk a little bit about the competition later on. So just a quick look at our portfolio to give you an idea of what has been the stage of development, the areas of interest for the companies we chose in the past couple of years. So you can see a lot of them has the use case of their technology has been in diagnostics and biomarker discovery, cell analysis, drug discovery and development, and cell and gene therapy. A lot of them has been, as I said before, we're an industry focused accelerator, and therefore we're looking for companies definitely post concept. So a lot of them have either a prototype, a beta, some of them even have paying customers. And in terms of funding, you can see that a lot of them are either seed or Series A. We have some pre-seed companies. This should definitely not discourage you from applying. It really is on a case-by-case basis. And I'm just going to say our first inaugural year winner, Machine Bio, we're actually a pre-seed company coming into that accelerator and still won. So do not be discouraged by that. It's definitely more about the innovation and the team and the execution. So I'm going to skip forward. What is it that we do to support you all in your journey to bring your technology to market? So there are many things that are part of our program. I'm going to talk about a few important ones. So one of the pillars is an educational curriculum that we provide to the companies. Our program is a virtual one typically from June to mid-October. During that time, we hold a cohort-driven webinar series. This is based on the specific and customized based on your specific challenges and gaps throughout the program. And these would include industry panels, office hour, workshops, and other activities. One of the main and important pillars of this program is the industry mentorship. One of the things we really take pride in is the ability to bring together some of the industry experts and subject matter experts into the program as your mentors. We match these mentors to you based on your specific gaps, your specific challenges, your specific industry, and what it is that you are doing and trying to do at that given moment. And with that, we match you to our mentors to work with you throughout the program. This can be either one or multiple mentors, depending on the needs. Community, one very important pillar of our program is being part of MedTech Innovator and BioTools Innovator means you're joining a very big network, not only of industry experts, but also a peer network of other alumni, CEOs, executives, from like-minded people from very similar companies. And this is a very important part of the process and the support that we provide to you. On top of all this, we talked a little bit about the competition. So resources and funding. We do have a non-dilutive prize at the end of the program for the program winner. And we'll talk about that a bit later. And outside of that, of course, the opportunity to partner with investors and corporate venture arms during the program. And of course, the recognition and visibility that this program provides to you as being part of MedTech Innovator and BioTools Innovator and what that entails. We are startup friendly. So as a nonprofit, like I said, we don't invest directly in the company. We also don't take any equity or participation fee. The program is virtual, so we're agnostic to geography. You do not have to relocate anywhere to be part of that program. The program is bookended with a couple of in-person events that you'd all want to participate in, and we'll touch on in a bit. And of course, the program is very customized to your stage of development and your specific challenges. So what is it that we're looking for, and how do we do this, and how is the search happening? So as I mentioned, we opened application this year earlier in November, mid-November, and the deadline to apply is January 31st. Even though the deadline is January 31st, I do encourage everyone that is planning to apply, please apply earlier rather than later. The earlier you apply, the more eyes on your application, the more reviews the application can receive, and the better chance you have of making it into the program. So I strongly encourage you, if you plan to apply, please do it earlier. About 20%, again, that's not a fixed number, but just historically, based on the historical statistics, about 20% of our top scoring applications are invited to our pitch events. Our pitch events, our road tour, is a series of pitch events that we do either in person or virtual. Mostly in person. Virtual is mostly intended for international companies or companies that are, for some reason, not able to travel. And of course, we're going to be sensitive to if there is a COVID, requirement or other requirement not to have in-person events. But mostly for our in-person events, we invite companies to pitch in front of a panel of judges that are experts on your type of technologies. These panel of judges are going to give you feedback, ask you questions, and help us down select from those 20% of the applicants into the accelerator companies. In our first year, in 2021, we had 10 accelerator companies. We had then expanded to 14 last year. And this year, we hope to be able to support between 15 and 20 companies, depending on different factors. So this could be either any one of you. Out of these 15 to 20 companies that are part of the accelerator program, and we'll talk about timeline later, we choose 5 finalists throughout the program. This depends on multiple factors, of course. And then towards the end, we have our finals competition where we would choose the grand prize winner and additional prizes. So that's about how we do our search and selection. What is it that we're looking for? I know a lot have emailed me already, and some of you are here on that webinar. Is my technology a fit? So that is a great question. Like I said, we are the first ever accelerator to be focused on life science tools and diagnostics. And what does that mean? So these 4 main areas that you see behind me are the areas of technology we're interested in. So we're looking for research products and instruments, and that can be kits, assays, reagents, and instruments that are part of the workflow for drug discovery, drug delivery, and diagnostics. So all of these are within the scope of the program. What's out of scope is the therapeutic itself. So if you're working to develop the therapeutic, that's mostly out of scope. We're happy to help you find partner programs that we work with, but this is out of scope for our programs. We're also looking for diagnostics platform and diagnostics technologies. These are typically regulated by the FDA under the diagnostic approval pathway. You could be an R&D and manufacturing service company. A lot of our tools companies have a service model. So this could be one of the areas we're interested in. And of course, any drug discovery and drug delivery technologies in different markets. So just a quick glance at what we have seen before in our applications in terms of the use of your technology and the application of your technology. Again, this does not mean that if you're outside of these areas, you're not in scope, but this is just what we have historically seen so far. So these are some of our areas of interest in terms of application. What is it that we're looking for in terms of stage of development? So we're looking for companies, as I said, we're a little bit more downstream. This is not an ideation accelerator. We're looking for companies with minimally proof of concept, preferably a prototype. But again, feel free to reach out and ask based on your stage of development, whether this is appropriate or not. It really is a case-by-case basis and dependent on your team, on your ability to execute, and the innovation of your technology, and most importantly, the strategic interests of all of our partners in the program. We would like the companies to be incorporated at the time of the program start, which is June. You don't have to be incorporated right now, but you do need to be incorporated at that point. Funds raised, like I said, we have several pre-seed companies, so that is okay. A lot of you have grants from SBIR and similar programs that support the research and development, and that's very appropriate. We typically look at companies that are less than Series B, that have less than Series B raised, or $10 million in equity. We do want you to have runway to execute on your current milestones and be able to implement the work that the advice that you're getting from our mentors. And once you're accepted to the accelerator, we do expect you to commit a C-level executive to the program, so that the contribution is to your company and technology is substantial. Timeline. I've gotten a lot of questions about timelines, so let's talk about that. As I said before, January 31st, this is the deadline for applications. Please apply earlier if you plan to apply. Our road tour, these are the series of pitch events I mentioned. These are the dates for our upcoming road tour. You will be, as you apply, we automatically invite you to a pitch event based on where your company is or headquartered. If you have other requests, please feel free to reach out and let us know. We're happy to try and accommodate that. So we have 3 pitch events this year, one in the East Coast, one in the West Coast, and a virtual one for mostly international. The Innovator Summit, this is a very big event. I'll talk about this more in a few slides, but this is the program kickoff. This is going to happen in June 14th, 15th. This is an in-person event for all of our programs, together with alumni, thought leadership in the different healthcare verticals, and our companies. So this is going to happen in the Bay Area in California. We then start the virtual accelerator program in mid-June until mid-October. And then the finals competition, this is going to take place on October 12th, co-located with the meeting on the MESA Cell and Gene Therapy meeting, where we would be giving $300,000 in prizes, in non-dilutive prizes, I should say. I can already see some of your questions. I'll get to them in a few minutes, I promise. So a little bit about our road tour. This is just to give you an idea of what's going to happen during our road tour. When you're invited to a pitch event, this is more or less what it looks like. A panel of judges in the room talking to you in depth about your technology. Sometimes you would have more than one opportunity to present to a different panel of judges during that road tour. But to one common question that I've received, I can already tell you, you will be invited to one event, only one of these events, not all 3. Again, based on your location, unless you need a different accommodation, you will be invited to one event. Sometimes you'll be able to pitch during that event more than once, depending on several factors. So these are our pitch events. I will say, one more thing I will say is that the biggest feedback that we're receiving after each and every one of our pitch events in every one of our programs is, wow, this has been phenomenal for me and my company. And this is the first time I had so many life science tools people in one room that actually understand what I'm pitching about. So this is the goal. We bring people that are experts in your field to help you receive feedback, but also, of course, help us make the selection and understand what is the technology about, how is the team doing, and how can we help them. And once we establish that we can help companies, this is when we open our doors into the program. The summit. So this is the kickoff event I was talking about. This is going to be a very big event for all of our programs, happening in San Francisco or the Bay Area in California in June. This is a really an innovator leadership summit. You will get the chance to meet our partners, industry experts, and most importantly, alumni and your cohort peers. Our finals event, as I mentioned, our final competition takes place in October in Carlsbad in conjunction with the Cell and Gene Therapy meeting, the meeting on the Mesa. Our partners for this event are Thermo Fisher. No need for introductions, I'm sure. And they together we build this very fun final event of pitches where we highlight each one of your technologies on stage and onto the final competition. The grand prize, by the way, I neglected to mention, is $250,000. I wanted to give you an opportunity to hear from one of our alumni, actually the winner of BioTools Innovator 2022. It'll take me a second just to see if I can see him among the participants. So in the meantime, I'm going to let you see for yourself some of the testimonials, from our alumni and from our sponsors. So with that, I'm going to have Scott. Let's see, Scott Dooley. There we go. Okay.
Hi, Alette, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi, Scott.
Great. Let me start my video so you can actually see me as well. Here we go. Hi.
There we go. Fantastic. Hi, Scott. Nice to see you again, and congratulations again for your for winning the BioTools Innovator 2022. And thanks for joining us today. It's really great. I wanted to give the audience an opportunity to ask you some questions, but first I'll let you just briefly kind of talk about your experience in the program.
Sure. Thanks. I'm very, very happy to do so. So in short, the BioTools Innovator program went beyond anything that we could potentially had hoped to gain, not only just winning the grand prize, but it inherently allowed us to tick all of the specific objectives that we wanted to achieve, which included basically allowing us to put together the structure for a first real equity raise. It allowed us to also add to our corporate governance by basically bringing one of our mentors on as a board of directors. And it did absolute wonders for our social media presence. And I can tell you, Alette, this is the first time I've ever received so many invitations to JP Morgan. I just don't know how many to turn down and which ones to go to. So it's been really good. And I think that more beyond that, but the BTI team, as you can see, I've got a bit of gray hair, so I've been doing this for a bit. But the BTI team still had plenty to teach me. I've been working in life science tools since the 80s. And they really helped us crystallize our message, refine our pitch, and really think about how we want to position the company going forward. So all in all, it was an absolute superb experience.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Scott. This is really great to hear. And this is, Scott is actually a really good example of a company that already had a product on the market, was already doing a lot of things in that field. And so initially, you know, there was this question whether this is a good fit for the program. And the answer is yes. There are both both sides of the spectrum in our program, and you know this is the importance of having a customized program, being able to support companies in that stage as well as the very early stages that we mentioned before in our first year winner, which was pre-seed, a proof of concept company. So really being able to kind of cover those different needs and different challenges and gaps, and are very happy to hear Scott's comments on that. So I'm going to open it up, I think, for questions specifically to Scott. I'll get to the questions in the chat in a bit, but I just wanted to open this up a little bit for questions for Scott. I know you're joining us from a conference, so I want to give you the opportunity to get back to what you're doing. If there are any questions, you can either raise your hands for Scott. You can either raise your hands or put them in the Q&A box. So I think the chat is also active, but try to use the Q&A. This is much easier. So any questions specifically for Scott? I see someone is saying we can't see Scott, so sorry for that. We may have a little bit of a technical issue here with the videos, but you can hear Scott, I hope. Okay, as we're waiting for specific questions for you, Scott, one thing I did want to ask you to talk about, if you could refer to specifically maybe the mentorship part of it. What are things that, or to other parts, actually, you know what, it doesn't have to be the mentorship. What would you have recommended companies joining the program to their use of the program?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, the first thing that I would highly recommend is to participate in as many of the summer programs as you can, because the more that you work, what the BTI brings in a panel of experts in a plurality of different areas that are salient to launching any business, from sales and marketing to forecasting to basically looking for strategics, how to talk with the strategics, and then really making good use of the time that you spent with your various different mentors who all come from significant walks of life in the BIOTOOLS sector. So really participating, I think, is an essential element. We actually enjoyed a lot, not just necessarily the knowledge that you get, but you have an opportunity to network and speak with industry professionals, people who are potentially some of your strategics that you want to co-market with ultimately someday down the line, or even members from the investment community. You get to place your company on the radar, yourself on the radar, and you get to basically come to know them personally. Also, the mentorship programs are very much tailored towards what you want. So I recommend that you create a list of items that you would like to get out of the program. Specifically, what are you missing in your team? What sort of expertise would you like to bring onto your team? What are you missing in your host of experience and knowledge? And then these mentors are just waiting to help you. One of the things we wanted to do was bring in some additional corporate governance and wisdom onto our board of directors, and our particular mentors were really essential towards that particular goal. So it's really structured to help you, right? So if you don't play an active role in the process, if you don't tell them what you want to learn, and if you don't basically list what you would like to get out of the program, then you're really selling yourself short, because the program is really going to, once you get into the cohort, then everybody's here to help you. And even your fellow cohort companies, you have an opportunity to build relationship with other members, other CEOs or managers from the cohort companies, which I found to be very invaluable as well.
Thank you, Scott. And I think I really cannot emphasize enough what Scott has just mentioned. It is really up to you how much you take away from this program. The mentors are there to help you. We are there to help you. Our different activities are there for you, but you do have to be an active participant and be proactive and make sure that you're following up on the things that you're working on during the program. And definitely, the more active you are, the more participation, the better the outcome is for you. And we strongly encourage companies to do so when they join the program. Scott, I see a number of questions. I think you've kind of answered some of them. But one of them is, how different is the program from other accelerators? I'm not sure, if you can specifically refer to other accelerators.
I know that's kind of difficult because I haven't really participated in very many accelerators because I didn't really find some of the programs to truly be that attractive, honestly. And so this is the first one we actually chose to participate in, partially due to the fact that based upon its past history and some of the companies that are in its cohort. And I think what was critical for us, quite honestly, because we're a tools company, and for those of you who are basically tools companies, I think you can probably empathize with this. You generally don't get a lot of attention. You generally don't get viewed as something that's really hot, fintech or some other area, whether it's real estate or what have you. These seem to get the lion's share of the fanfare, and BIOTOOLS was really focused on what we wanted to do. And so we didn't have to feel as if we needed to say, hey, we're here, because they get it. And I think that was a critical issue, that everybody who's involved in this particular program understands, and they're passionate. They're very passionate about the tool space. And that resonated very strongly with us.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate you saying this, because this is what we're trying to build here, right? This is the goal, having a home for life science tools and diagnostics companies that come here and don't really have a clear understanding from the larger ecosystem of what it is they're doing. It's not to say that this sector has not gotten a lot of attention, but you need to know the right people to make strides in this market. There is another question here. You kind of touched on it, but I do want to add another aspect to it. The question is, what did you learn from this program? Is it more product development, business leads, fundraising, or anything else? It's a great question. Scott touched on it. I can let him continue a little bit and touch more on that. But I do want to say the fact that Scott has been helped in a specific aspect does not mean this is a program focus. Again, this is a very customized one. We have companies that were laser focused on fundraising, and that's what we focused on with them. We have companies that needed help on product development, and that's what we focused on with them. And we have companies that focused on other things like deals with pharma companies or other things that they were doing during the program. And so really what I need everyone here to understand is that we try to tailor the program to what you need. And so yes, there might be things that are common to everyone. Fundraising is a huge one. That most companies, in the program are fundraising at some point or another, or are getting ready to fundraise. And so that's a huge thing. Product development is always a thing, right? But there are specific things during our webinars or our mentorship or other workshops that we do that we really try to work with the companies on a case-by-case basis. Scott, anything specific you want to add?
For us, it was so thanks. I mean, for me personally, I've been doing this now for about 3 decades, and in a serial fashion. So it wasn't necessarily product development or research and development, manufacturing and so forth, but really where I was somewhat lacking was having appropriate the appropriate knowledge and understanding on how to really pitch effectively. And so I think the BTI team really helped me refine our pitch. I think that's a big deal. My background is in medicine, and I fund most of our research through NIGMS awards, so I can relate, and I can write really strong and responsive grant proposals that get very well funded. But that is a sort of a different thing from truly pitching effectively, communicating with strategics, communicating with the financial with financial partners. So that was really helpful. And then the other issue was basically refining my understanding of how to layer on responsible and very much needed corporate governance in a company. So how to transition a company from an early stage organization to a grow up organization. And I think that's one where our mentors really helped out a lot.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Scott. We won't keep you for too long. You're welcome to stay, of course, but I know, like I said, you're in a conference. So thank you so much for dropping in and answering questions and providing some context for people. I always like to give the opportunity to talk to our alumni to hear more from them. So as I said, there are a lot of other testimonials. Feel free to reach out and ask for that from us. We're happy to provide those if you'd like to take a look. So how to apply? Before we get to your questions, I just want to briefly go over how do you apply. So very easy. You go to our website, biotoolsinnovator.org. On the homepage, you'll have, there are several ways to access it. One is to apply for the 2023 programs. So you just click on that, you'll be rerouted to the apply page. From the apply page, you have a button that says apply here, hard to miss. What you'll do is you'll be directed to this page where you'll start creating your account. And from creating your account, you will just have a step-by-step application form to walk you through the application. Like I said, I cannot stress this enough. If you plan to apply, please apply sooner rather than later. And these are the ways to contact us, either through our website. You can follow our Twitter or LinkedIn page for updates and for additional information sessions, or for updates on our application program, on our application process, sorry. The deadline, again, January 31st. Feel free to email me with any questions that you may have during that process. So I'm ayelet@medtechinnovator.org. I'm available to answer questions. I do want, give me one quick second before I start answering questions. I would like to add to the panel here, Catherine Zavala. She's the COO of MedTech Innovator and the Managing Director of BioTools Innovator. And so I wanted to give Catherine the opportunity to say hi to everyone. Catherine and I are the faces you'd see most during the program, as well as the rest of our team. So I'm going to try to have her added to the panel. Meanwhile, we can start answering questions in the Q&A. Hi, Catherine. Let's see.
Hello, how's it going?
Hi, Catherine. Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Hi, everybody.
Okay. Great. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to say hi, say a few words about BioTools Innovator. And if there are any specific questions to Catherine, go ahead.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Ayla, for leading this info session. I think it was very comprehensive, but I'm excited to dive into some of the questions other people might have. And also, sorry, my little one is here sick today. But I also appreciated having Scott come in and talk a little bit about his experience. Hopefully this answers a lot of questions for the audience and also gave them a taste of what they could expect when they participate in our program.
Great, thank you. Well, let's dive into the questions. Okay, so how about, we have a question from Serene. How about software for the analysis of omics data? These are used in drug discovery, research, etc. I'm going to keep it short, slam dunk. This is well within our scope. Very interested in this area. We've had several applicants in that, in this specific area of technology of high interest. Encourage you to apply. Let's see, another company. If our company has multiple products at different stages, how should we represent this in the application? Great question. We've dealt with several of these. It really, it's not a great answer. It depends. So in this specific case, I would create an application for the main product you want to focus on in this program, and please reach out to me directly to give me a little bit more details about what are the other products, how different they are from each other. Is this something we really need to treat as different companies per se, or different products that needs specific attention, or is this something we can work with as one company? Sorry, I don't have a more, precise answer, but really we need to know a little bit more to answer this. I would really suggest to apply with kind of the main product you're looking for help with, and then reach out to me for more information. And then I'm going to read another question here. We have a screening and diagnostic system that uses patient-generated health data collected through online questionnaires. It is already in use in 48 states and was built with SBIR funding, like a lot of our companies, I must say, but it undilutes self-funded otherwise. Would your company be relevant? Again, on the surface, I would say this looks like a technology that is a good fit. I do recommend that if you're not sure, it's hard for me to say without really looking at the deck, really getting a little bit of a better understanding of what we're talking about. Feel free to reach out to me, send a quick deck so we can take a look at it. This is not unusual. We do a lot of this with companies that are not exactly certain to which program, under which program they fall, or whether this is a good fit for the program. So feel free to reach out to me. Again, this is my email. I yell it at medtechinnovator.org, and we're happy to take a look at it. Let's see, other questions. Oh, and we have a question here about the application process itself. In the second section, there is a video and abstract upload. What is the expected content for those uploads? I believe you're talking about the product video. I think that's what we're talking about there. If there is a video for your product, you can upload it there. This is not a mandatory field, but if you do have it, it's always a helpful tool for our reviewers to look at your technology and get a quick understanding of what they're looking at. And the abstract, I believe, Catherine, do you recall a field with abstract?
There's nothing specifically for abstract. I think there's the option to upload whatever files you would like to include with your application. Mostly, people include like a pitch deck, maybe an executive summary, but some way for us to kind of get a better understanding of what your technology is and where your company is at.
And there's a follow-up question here that says there's a product video upload. Again, this is not mandatory. If you have it, you feel free to upload it. and upload section on the next page. So you may be referring to something else. On the last part of the application, you'll have a section that says files upload. This is typically where we would want to see a deck, a pitch deck that holistically talks about your company, right? So it's the product, a little bit of the technology, and the business model and where you are in that process. So more of a typical pitch deck to give us an understanding of where you are. This actually reminds me of something very important. So in your application, please make sure, and we state that during the application, but please make sure you're only uploading a non-confidential materials. Our reviewers don't have a confidentiality agreement with you naturally. And so please make sure that you only communicate the non-confidential parts of your business. Later on, as you start working with these people, maybe as mentors or other opportunities, or if you have an introduction as a result of it and start discussions with one of the strategics, you'd be able to request an NDA or any other, way that you would like to discuss things with companies, or with individuals. But at this point, please be sure to only upload non-confidential materials. We do review all the materials in the application, and if there is a confidential material, we would send you an email letting you know that you need to replace this. So thank you for reminding me that. And again, Charla, I'm not sure if I exactly answered your question. If I haven't, and there's a screenshot you'd like to send me of where you are in the application and what is expected, please feel free to do so. Let's see. Okay, any other questions from anyone? Okay, if not, I'm happy to give everyone some time back from your day. So a couple of minutes back are always great. And as I said, we'll be posting additional info sessions in the future, in the upcoming weeks. So feel free to join and drop in if you have other questions that you now think about. Again, visit our website for information. We'll be uploading the timeline that is currently not on our website yet. We'll be uploading that timeline into the website soon, so you'll have a quick reference of how the program looks like and what's the timeline. But feel free to reach out at any time with questions. Maybe I'll take one last question before we drop off. Will the session be sent to us after the call? Yes, we will be sending a recording to everyone that participated or registered and were unable to attend. So definitely you'll have that to refer to. And again, feel free to reach out to either me or Catherine with any questions during that process. So thank you again for joining the session. And we're looking forward to seeing your applications soon.
Best of luck, everybody.
Best of luck. Bye, everybody.